Every now and then, I'll get a reminder of chemical messages that can actually affect everything I do, from how I feel, whether I feel like getting up in the morning or exercising, my creativity, or even my response to conflict. These lovely messengers are hormones. Hi, I'm Simpiwe. I'm a medical doctor and a certified functional medicine practitioner, as well as the founder of Life Force Elite. Over the next few videos, we'll be diving deep into the world of hormones for both men and women, and we'll unpack how they affect us or how they're made and how we can optimize them in order to thrive. So in the first video, I'll be looking at hormones in general, what they are, how they are made, and how they interact with our bodies. And then thereafter, we'll get into the specifics. We'll look at hormones in both males and females, and also how these change over time and how we can optimize them. Why? Because hormones are so important. They affect our metabolism, our energy levels, libido, how we age, and even fertility. As you might have guessed, we'll also touch on lifestyle, as hormone production and balance largely can depend on your nutrient profile, stress levels, inflammation, or gut health. So, without further ado, let's get into our first video. So what are hormones and how do they affect our bodies? Hormones are made in glands called endocrine glands. You've probably heard of your ovaries and testicles. But in addition, glands also include your thyroid, parathyroid glands, your pituitary and hypothalamus glands in the brain, as well as the adrenal glands and pancreas. From here, hormones are synthesized and released into the bloodstream. To help us understand hormones better, we can divide them into three categories, namely your steroid hormones, peptide or protein hormones, as well as amino acid-derived hormones. So steroid hormones are probably the ones you've heard of: progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, ACTH, as well as cortisol, amongst others. Steroid hormones are actually made from cholesterol, hence it's very important to pay attention to very low-fat diets. Other things that you can pay attention to are chronic stress, inflammation, and insulin resistance, as these can actually affect how steroid hormones are produced. Next, you have your peptide or protein hormones, and these include insulin, prolactin, growth hormone, and parathyroid hormone. Lastly, there's amino acid-derived hormones. These are usually produced from an amino acid called tyrosine. From here, the body produces your thyroid hormones, including T3, T4, adrenaline, noradrenaline, and dopamine. As you might have guessed, hormones are closely linked to your lifestyle. So nutrients, sleep, stress levels, and liver functions, as well as gut health, can also affect how your hormones are produced and how they function. Now, let's look at male and female hormones. Here, it's very important to note that both men and women have the same hormones. The difference is the proportions. In women, dominant hormones will be estrogen and progesterone, but they also have testosterone, cortisol, as well as thyroid hormones, amongst others. Now let's look at each. So estrogen is very important to support your uterus lining. In addition, it can help you with brain function, maintain skin and collagen production, and most importantly, support your cardiovascular system and bone health. Progesterone, also known as a calming hormone, can help with anxiety, regulate your sleep, and balances out estrogen. And lastly, testosterone in women can help with a sense of drive, confidence, libido, and also support muscle mass. Now in men, the dominant hormone will be testosterone, but men also have estrogen, cortisol, and thyroid hormones. Testosterone in men helps support muscle mass, libido, red blood cell production, as well as confidence. And estrogen, which men also have, can help with brain health and also support their cardiovascular system. As you can see, hormones are all about balance. So hormones do change over time as we age. In early childhood, you'll have low level of sex hormones and more growth hormone, for example. And in puberty, there's usually an explosion of estrogen and testosterone. In your 20s and 30s, you'll experience a peak in your reproductive hormones. And then in your 30s and 40s, there's usually a subtle decline in progesterone in women and testosterone in men. In perimenopause or andropause, this is where fluctuations are more pronounced, and as a result, you might experience symptoms such as anxiety, sleep disturbances, weight distribution, brain fog, and loss of resilience. Hot flushes are only the tip of the iceberg. Now, let's get into the functional medicine perspective. Although we understand that hormonal shifts and imbalances are normal, in addition, we may ask, what else could be driving this imbalance? Is it chronic stress, insulin resistance, poor sleep, inflammation, gut dysfunction, or nutrient deficiencies? Hormones, or the endocrine system, doesn't function in isolation. It also responds to your environment and other bodily systems. For example, if you have an increase in your stress hormone, which is cortisol, you might have a slowing of your thyroid function. If there's increased insulin resistance, especially in men, testosterone levels drop. And if you have poor liver detox, estrogen recirculates, and there's also an accumulation of harmful metabolites. As you can see, everything is connected, and this is very important to remember in treating any symptom or disease. As we end this video, I want you to remember that hormones are intelligent messengers that respond to your lifestyle, stress levels, sleeping patterns, and nutritional profile. In the next video, I'll be delving deeper into female hormones. As always, if you'd like to know more about myself or functional medicine as a whole, head on over to lifeforceelite.co.za or follow us on Instagram at lifeforceelite. If you found this video helpful, feel free to share it with your loved ones. Bye for now.